What's going on? It's your man, Tim Jackson, Mr. Purpose on Demand, and this is the No More OGs podcast. I am here with a good friend of mine, Miss Ericka Williams. What's going on with you, Doc?
Hello, everybody.
How you been?
In hot off the plane.
Like fresh off the plane. Fresh off the plane.
Drove to a new part of Dallas.
You had.
I was like, where am I at?
We are at the new studio right now. Ericka literally thought she was flying out of Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, and no, you were flying out of Dallas-Fort Worth, but you went to Love
Dallas
Field.
Love.
Oh, you were flying out of Dallas Love.
Yeah, and then I went to DFW, and I was like, why is this thing not pulling up? I said, wait, it only got one terminal. It says DLA, DAL.
Yep.
I said, oh.
That's the little bitty small airport.
I like it, though.
It's nice. It's simple. You go in, you either go left or you go right.
I understand why they charge a little more, and I'm okay with it.
Yep. So, listen, I wanted to bring you on today because, you know, Ericka, me and you have a lot of candid conversations with each other one-on-one. I know you just got back from Invest Fest. Shout out to the gentleman who put that on. Right, and like, you're fresh off the plane. But the reason why we do this podcast, the reason I created this is because I really feel like, you know, for lack of better words, old niggas are giving out some super bad game these days. When you look at everything that's on television or things that are on podcasts, everywhere you go, it's just a bunch of old people reliving their glory years. And they'll even tell you during those stories that they tell that they don't really have an incentive to give people like me good advice. And there's a lot of good young men and women out there who really, really are seeking good advice, but there's so much crap. There's so much bad information out there that they don't even know what to trust. And the things that aren't going to benefit us long term is really, really getting a platform, and the things that's going to take us to a different level. You know, no one really shows that a lot. So that's what this platform is about, like giving out some good game, showing people how stuff is done, giving people an opportunity to invest in themselves, you know, through different classes and through different access with different people. So that's why I wanted you to come on as one of my first guests, because you've built like a whole empire on YouTube. I call it The machine. So talk to me, like, you went to Invest Fest, and for those who don't know, that's a big, you know, event that's put on by Earn Your Leisure, right?
Earn Your Leisure.
Yeah. So tell me about, like, what was that like?
It was beautiful to see. So I posted a picture while I was there, and that's what got people like just liking the page, going to my Instagram, going to my YouTube. I posted a picture of us 4 years ago, 2019, in Houston, Texas. Hot, sweaty little black-owned place. Just 500 people smashed up in there, hot, sweaty. And I said, that's the power of 4 years of consistent, ongoing content building.
Say that again.
That is the power of 4 years of consistent, ongoing content building. And so when I talk about digital real estate, people mock it and make fun of people who make courses. I said, we just saw 12,000 people fill a stadium off of watching YouTube videos and buying courses.
Yeah, that was like, I saw a video, and like I said, I'm new to this space. You actually got me into being on social media. Like you, Dre, I always mention you too when people say, how'd you get into this? Like, you and Dre are the ones that like kicked me in the ass and said, Tim, it's time for you to go out there and start talking about what you're doing. But like, I even watch you, like how consistent you are. And I think you posted a video of all the people that was there. It was amazing. That looked like a big convention. Like, when you think of conventions, crazy. You don't think conventions like that with us, you know?
New level respect. And here's the thing. Somebody had posted it. It's 12,000 black people there. Not for a sports game. Not for a music concert. I mean, there was music at the end, but here for financial literacy. And people were already like, this where I was like, let me come see myself, see what's going on, let's see what they're talking about. And there was so much hate online. I said, y'all missing the whole movement. That
people gonna always find a reason to hate.
Yeah, these younger people are like, help me not make mistakes. Yeah, help me get my financials together, because what we're coming up on is the fact that we're gonna have all these boomers that are not ready for retirement, and they're gonna expect you to help, and you in your 20s and 30s and you don't even know what you're doing. I need some help with my bills. Well, I need some help knowing what to do next.
And there's a buffer generation, because you have, I always tell people our
Gen
generation.
X.
Yeah, that Gen X, man.
40 to 55, they squeezed right now. They helping you come back from college. They helping you get your car. They co-signing for your apartment. Yeah. Then they mama ain't got you, or the grandma ain't got the bills right. Grandma ain't paid her property taxes. Grandma
on
need hip surgery. Grandma got Medicaid. So I really, truly, when I do my channel, I reach out, I look at the demographics. It's 35 to 55. And I thought it was younger people.
Yeah.
But for a long time, I'm like, why are they listening to me? I'm young. But it's because they squeezed. 40 to 55 right now, you catching it. All over. Hypertension.
Facts.
Weight. I mean, we have to work on our weight every day. After you turn 30, it's like, body's like, hey.
I literally just said
I'm telling your body's like, did you eat a donut at 8 o'clock? Boom, 5 pounds.
Boom. Like literally,
Boom.
I was just telling Xavier that on Millionaire Mindset when he interviewed me. I said, bro, he says he's going to return 30 and I'm turning 40.
Next week he's going to be 20 pounds heavier.
I said, bro, as soon as you turn 30, you better start doing sit-ups every time you eat, player, because it's coming.
That's why I don't take advice from nobody 25 about no weight loss. I'd be like, call me when you're 35.
Man. But when I was 25, I could eat anything at any time, anywhere, any place.
I ate like trash when I first moved to Austin.
Oh,
I was like, I was like one. Look, I was so small. I got to look at pictures. I'd be like, damn, girl, you got to get back, girl.
So let's talk about something really quick, because I wanna stick to something that really bothers me, and that's just, it's like this black hole of bad information, right? And I follow you. One of the reasons that I like you and I follow you is, one, because you're consistent, but two, you provide accurate information that anyone can pull up at any time, any place, anywhere.
Google.
And they can check what you're doing. And you know me, man, I loathe with a passion lifestyle marketing. Because I feel like it's setting people up for failure. It's and there's nothing wrong with having nice things, but a lot of people don't understand the importance of work and work ethic, and a lot of people just want to show up, do something one time, get hella rich off of it, and ride off into the sunset on a yacht in Miami. Like, can you speak to why that's so? Why is it so detrimental for us not to buy into those types of concepts or chase those things without putting in the work?
I sat and watched a bunch of people come up to Todd Millie's booth while we were there, and he was saying selling a cheaper product that provides people some type of return quicker is like the goal. People are like, I need something for $20 and it's gonna make me some money tomorrow, right? And what ends up happening is I hate the word overnight success, because it's like such a disrespect to the person who's been putting 5, 6, 7, 8 years into something, their craft or whatever, soccer, sports, but we don't see that. What we saw is like for 6 weeks, he worked out really hard. Now he's going to be in this boxing ring. That's not real. You know what I mean? Like that's, the reason we have bad information is because people desire something quick, fast, hurry.
Speak on that.
Like you didn't get broke, quick, fast, hurry. You didn't gain weight, quick, fast, hurry. And sometimes that food be getting you. Yeah. But like nothing in life, that lasts foundational is quick, fast, in a hurry. Not even relationships. We hear the stories of, we met and 2 weeks later we got married. We've been married 20 years. Okay, that's true. But a lot of times it takes a minute to get to know people, build something. That's with anything. And the reason, and I'm not going to name no names, but the reason some people can't be taken apart or taken down is they've been building it for 10 years. Like, honestly, at the Earn Your Leisure, I was like, the guy who started this whole lifestyle marketing ain't even here. His wife is here with a security guard. Like, he started that whole content marketing on finances and street corner talking to people and coming to the people. That was started by somebody else. But we are in love with quick, fast, and hurry. Hey man, they started a podcast in 2020. Pow, boom, they here, boom. Like we love that story and we want that story. Right? I don't know if you saw that meme where they were like, they dropped the CIA dropped off podcast mics in the black community. And I just thought it was so funny. But, why do we get bad information? Like, I think one of the epidemics right now is the gyms. I want some gyms. Like, somebody said it to me. Somebody came up to me and they hugged me, took my picture, like, man, give me some gyms. I'm like, gyms? Like, what is this? This not like a...
I mean, they're not going to do shit with it. And I'll say that. And I know people going to feel some kind of way about it, but... a gym without application is nothing. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just we've lost there's a lost art to work, and in the black community, you can't say that out loud because then people accuse you of being, you one of those bootstrap guys, or you you cooning or whatever they want to say about you because you're holding people accountable. But the fact of the matter is, you can't. Our ancestors worked.
Well, there's a dignity in work. There's a whole book about it. As a person who's half Native American, but you know what I mean? Basically, when I was in Alaska, watching other Native people that weren't my people, but other Native people be absolutely depressed, demoralized, alcoholics, and you would be like, they would say, well, we keep giving these Alaskan Native folks all this money. What's their problem? They got housing, they got food. They're missing the dignity of work. They want to work.
Speak on that, because I lived in Alaska too, and so I know how they get a dividend up there in Alaska.
You get an oil dividend, but they also have some Native resources that pay out. It's like any Native place you go, like they pay out. Like these people get money. Like they don't get smorgasbords of money. Yeah. They do get like, what we would equivalent to food stamps and basics. Mm-hmm. But that's not thriving. There's no honor in that. Right? Yeah, you gave me a little bit, but I want to be able to have the option to earn a living.
Why do you think, man, that's you kind of open up Pandora's box here, because when I think of politics, when I think of politics that caters to black people, it's typically rooted in us doing a bunch of stuff for you and you having to do nothing. But then there's a stigma associated with people that look like us of being lazy. But you think about the politics that are marketed towards us is essentially marketed for us to not have to put any effort into anything to receive anything. So like how do you feel like that's hurting, people as a whole, specifically black people? And what do you think the alternative to that is?
Now I will say I'm not the biggest fan right now in this season of life of grind culture, grinding without a purpose. So in speaking to this whole, what we were talking about, there's been this movement among a lot of African American people, soft living. At first it was women, but now I see a lot of men like soft living. Like they use a different word, but more like minimalism. They like that word.
Okay.
Both those derive out of being broke. Let's cut the bull. Both those derive out of, I don't make enough money. But instead of saying, maybe I need to get a different skill set, I need to get a different job, I just do soft living. I just live at home. I got my plants. I got my dog. I'm living more relaxed. And so they're trying to make sense of poverty.
Dive into that a little bit more, because I see a lot of people in California who are big into that. Like a lot of people in California who are big into that.
So if you ever come to my apartment, I'm a minimalist, but I eat well. I live well. My couches are nice. My paintings on the wall, Wakanda, whatever, nice.
Wait a minute. So is there a difference between a person who's a minimalist and a person who's just frugal? Like me, I like nice things, but I'm cheap. Like I'm the type of person, I believe that wealth is quiet and rich is flashy. So I don't like to show my money.
They're different.
Like I don't show my money at all.
Right. They're different. Yeah. See, this is what the problem is. This is the whole problem. So what you're describing is frugal. Nothing's wrong with frugal. Dave Ramsey talks about frugal. Minimalism is, I'm not going to buy into all this materialism to be happy. I'm not going to overstuff my apartment, my house, my life to be happy. So I have minimal items, right? People going to come after this and complain about how my description, but really they're becoming minimalist because they're broke. And they're trying to make sense out of poverty.
Talk about that, man.
They're trying to make sense out of it. They're trying to how can I describe, instead of saying I'm frugal, because people hate somebody being cheap. They hate the word cheap.
They hate it.
So they're like, no, I'm a minimalist.
Yeah.
And you're like, baby, it's okay if there's seasons of you don't got it.
And when black people talk like this, we get accused of looking down on people or speaking down on people. And my thing is, well, why can't we want more, and why do we have to settle for less? I'm not a minimalist by any stretch of imagination. I'm just frugal. Like I can justify spending $20,000 on a vacation, but I wouldn't spend, that type of money on
a bunch of junk that's gonna fill up your house.
Yeah, like furniture, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
so when I tackled this before, a year before, I said something against this because it's got all popular and a lot of people are like, well, if you ain't got it, there's no reason to shame a person. I said, but therein lies the problem. You're saying the reason you're a minimalist is because you ain't got it. Baby, just be frugal. Just be frugal for a season. Know the definition. Decrease. Know the definition of what you're in. Right now, your definition is you're in frugal season. You have to budget. Nobody likes that word either.
You said a key word. You said season. And a lot of people feel like that it's forever. It's not forever. It's a season. I always talk about how, I told my wife, essentially, if you give me 6 months to work this plan, you'll never have to work again in your life, right? And she said, all right, I'm going to take you up on that. And
That's so short. That's a short time.
It was a short time, but I busted my ass for 6 months and I put myself in a position financially where she was able to quit her job. But a lot of people don't understand that those seasons are going to come and go, and eventually your resolve is going to show up too. And people feel like that sacrifice is forever. And I try to explain to people it's not forever. It's a season, you know? So I'm glad you said that, because sometimes I feel like I'm beating a dead, I don't want to say beating a dead horse. I don't want the animal people to come out there, but I sound like a broken record, right? You know, and I also feel like until I start getting around people like you and others, like I felt like I was going crazy, because I was like, damn, like, can nobody else see this shit? Like, can nobody see that there is so much more to offer than what we are exposing ourselves to or allowing ourselves to accomplish? But we are focused on, you know, just this image of what success looks like.
We love cars. We love the flashy. Remember, listen, I tell y'all this all the time. For the past 3 years, I've gotten nonstop ridicule because I have a paid off Ford Fiesta that I paid with an insurance check. And I'm like, don't you see me traveling the world? Don't you see me riding first class? Don't you see me on vacations on islands? Don't you see me taking my whole family to Alaska? Don't you see me taking my whole family to Yellowstone?
Talk your shit.
Don't you see me taking my whole family to Puerto Rico?
Talk your shit.
But we rather have the car. So now that I bought an SUV used. They like, why you buy used? I said, baby, like I'm in the air half the time. I ain't even here like that. How I'm gonna pull up to a construction site telling a man I can't pay him that much to do a construction job, and I'm driving a brand new something.
Talk your shit. You know what? I always say the easiest way to trick black people is to have a nice car.
Easiest.
I can't tell you how many times I pulled up somewhere in my Honda Civic and people look at me like I got shit on me. You know what I'm saying?
If you saw the cars at Earn Your Leisure this week, I mean, parking deck full of Porsches, parking deck full of Range Rovers, parking deck full of the best. Now, I'm not saying the people there didn't got it. That's not what I'm saying.
That's not what you're saying.
But I'm saying in the long term of like, where can I put my money for it to work for me to live free and take my family where I want to go? It's easy for anybody to go get a car loan. We just saw that with the whole
easiest loan in the world.
What is it called? Turo app. We just saw all these people get expensive car loans, and they about to be repoed. So I mean, we saw that. Like,
I used to be an underwriter for an auto finance company, one of the largest auto finance companies, and I always tell people, you know, that was one of the most stressful jobs I ever had, because I would watch people get into, like, become poor through their vehicles. I literally went from being a repossession agent at that particular lender to being an underwriter. And I thought, leaving the repo department, I said, you know what, I'm tired of taking people's cars. I want to be on the front end to help them. And I saw that we did more damage on the front end than we ever did on the back end. It was crazy to me how much we love our cars, but we have this thing within our culture, and I've been on record saying it, man, fuck the culture. The culture hasn't done anything for us, but within our culture, your car matters more than anything, and I think that's going to be the death of us financially. That's my opinion. I don't care what people think about it. I've seen it. I've seen friends and family members go broke behind cars, and they don't have, as my mother would say, a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. I mean, they don't have any property, but they will go for broke to pull up, or for what I call a moment in time at the stoplight to kind of show off on somebody. And then it's just like, okay, well, now what? Like,
listen,
now what?
The moment that changed my life when I was in Austin, Texas, I was like, man, I got to get into a higher paying job. I'm working as a property manager, but I'm delivering pizzas at night. But it's straddled on this border, this highway. You know how East Austin, you got the West, right? So you got this $1 million homes over here. But we had to cross this street because we had to share it. Another Papa John's was like, y'all got to share. We can't do all the poor and y'all do all the rich. So we shared it. So we go over and deliver pizzas to these D and C apartments, falling apart stairwells apartments. In the raggediest apartments, brand new cars all in the parking lot.
Brand new.
The nicest BMWs, the nicest Lexus, nice everything. Drive across the way, $1 million home. Old Honda Civics in the yard. Old Toyotas.
Trucks.
Old BMW. Old trucks. Kid come to the door. Teenagers giving you $10. Like, my dad said, here, take this. And I walk off. I'm like, okay. Like, they were less than 2 miles from the pizza place. Here's $10. Okay, have a good day.
It's a mindset.
Not even a thought process.
It's a mindset, but also it's what we see. And I think that if people start seeing more of this, people start seeing these types of conversations, and they redefine what rich is and redefine what wealth is, then we can start, if you got a bottle of water and you put just a drop of food coloring and it changes that water completely, right? I think that I know that I'm not gonna say thing. We're gonna be the generation, and we're gonna be the crew that changes that. So I want to shift gears a little bit because
excuse me, I apologize.
that's okay. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about, you know, professionalism and presentation, right? And the reason I want to do that is because, you know, there's this false connotation, this false notion within the black community that if you're professional, you're acting white, or you have to be a certain kind of way, or you have to code switch, meaning that when you get around non-black people, you can be, you know, you pronounce and enunciate your words. Then when you get around other black people, you can let your hair down. And one of the things that I don't allow anyone to do, like if I go somewhere and I'm the only black person, I don't let people call me man and bro. It's like, hey man, call me sir. You know, like,
you sound like my trainer.
You know, on the flip side of that, if I get around you and I'm, you know, you're patronizing me and we're both black, like I don't want you to like downplay and code switch. Like we brothers and we cool. Like treat me like somebody's giving you money. And you told me about your ride over here in the Uber, but I want you to talk about that ride. And I want you to talk about the importance of presenting yourself as a professional and not feeling the need to act or be something that you're not while being professional.
Right. So I'll give two, really. My personal trainer, he was wearing golf leisure. Man in front of him wearing golf leisure, white man. He go on the line, they at Starbucks. The guy's like, okay, here you go, sir. He goes up, he's like, what's up, man? I'm a 40-year-old black man wearing the same exact golf leisure as this white man that just came out of the line. You address me as sir. And people are like, well, dang, he had to do all that.
Why not?
Why not? He's a 40-year-old black man.
Where's the respect?
Where's the respect? I'm not your bro. I'm not what's up, man. Do you know how many times I worked and people be like, yes, sis, or start doing the sassy lady thing?
When I worked at KW, that was the last brokerage I worked for before I went back to being my own broker. There was a guy there. He was a cool dude too. I know he's gonna probably watch this, and I think he's a good guy. But he would always do the, hey man, hey bro, and I had to check him like, yo man, like stop calling me man and bro, like
just say hey.
You just say what's up, Tim. Like just call me, or like when I would go play basketball, or go places, I would notice that, you know, it was always dude, bro, hey, you know, it was that all that colloquialism shit when it was me, and I'd be like, man, call me Tim.
Call me Ericka. So I got in an Uber. Middle Eastern guy dressed like not like he been here years, like not new here, not oh, how you doing? And I get in the car when I heard like pop radio playing when I walked up to the GMC. Well, then I get in and then he gonna put on Too Short. And I'm dressed as I am.
These are the tales, the freaky tales. Hey, these are the tales that tell so well.
Literally the next 10 songs, I had my headphones on, but the next 10 songs were B words, F words. I'm like, hey man, that's a lot of cussing. He takes it's like looking back like.
He thought that was familiar to you though.
I said, that's a lot of cussing. Like J. Cole's cussing? He said, yeah, it's a good song. He said, oh, do you want me to turn? Don't worry about it. I'm already here at the Air Dallas Love. Don't worry about it. It was a lot of cussing. Oh. That's unprofessional. So then when I got there, he wanted to make sure, let me drive you right to your car. Let me help you get.
Yeah, he wanted to get them stars.
Yeah, I was like, that was unprofessional.
Yeah.
And, you know, what happens is, you know, the black best friend trope, you know, is everywhere. Like, hey, it's my black best friend at work, man. What's up, man? Like, he keeps me on the know of all the cool stuff. And that really has to stop. And it starts by us being that uncool person. Like, hey, don't speak to me that way.
They won't let you speak to them that way. We could never appropriate anyone else's culture. And I say culture with the finger quotes. Y'all know how I feel about this culture. I fucking hate this culture that is associated with black people because it only categorizes a extremely small percentage of black people. Like, I don't be around these niggas, man. Like, I'm just keeping it real, man. I don't be
know
around
what they talking
niggas
about.
like that.
Somebody asked me about a song one day. I'm like, baby, do I look like I know what that song
I don't listen
means?
to that shit. And it's like the older I get, and it's not to put it off, like to say I'm better than it, but at some point in the game, we got to evolve. Like when I was in my 20s, not in my teens, mid 20s, yeah, I like that ratchet shit. Like I was into it. I used to club. I used to get into fights and do goofy shit like that. But man, I'm about to be 40, and this nigga's my age that's still on that bullshit. And then they wondering why shit ain't what it is. And let's not get it twisted. Like, I'm the first person that speaks out against systematic, oppression, white supremacy, all that. Trust me, I done made a lot of enemies down at that city. And, I'm on the record of having a whole real estate office leadership team quit because I questioned some things that was going on. With that being said, we have access to so much information, and we have so much access now that we can't keep using the excuse of somebody keeping us down when we not doing what the fuck we need to do to get up, to come up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that starts by it's a lack of exposure, right? So two things. I was at a restaurant with my white friend. She was in real estate. She's actually my realtor for land, and this white waiter came up and was like, "Yeah, what's up, girls? How you doing?" Like, he was not like that at any other table. And I just looked at him like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, I can tell you guys want to relax today." And I'm like, "What are you doing?" And Tiffany could feel that I was like, don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that. Like, you doing some sassy stuff. You doing some weird stuff. You won't do it at any other table in this restaurant.
And you got to check everybody. Like, this ain't just checking us. It's checking everybody. And enough of us won't do it. It's like we're afraid to do it.
Yeah. No, I just kept looking at him like, "Why are you talking like that?" He was like, oh, I'm sorry. You guys not in the mood today? You're not in a good mood?
Oh, so now you angry.
And I do a lot of commenting on Facebook, and they go, "Well, why are you being so angry?" I said, "No, I'm expressive. I'm opinionated. I can describe what's going on with me. I'm passionate." I literally have an Asian friend. They'd be like, "Oh man, he's a wild guy off the handle." But if it was a woman or a black person, they'd be like, "Oh, they're angry." They're angry.
No. It's funny you say that, because I went and had dinner with some friends recently. And this particular friend, she recently got her PhD, and her PhD was like centered in, and don't beat me up if I say the wrong things. I know she'll watch this. It was centered in black girls in mathematics in schools, and how they tend not to be able to get into tag programs because the one thing that makes a person creative is that the fact that they're expressive. Yep. And so when it's a little, a white kid who's doing something, it's like, "Oh, little Billy, little Johnny, he's such a leader. He needs to be in tag." But if it's a black girl specifically, or a black kid, they got an attitude problem. They bad. They don't deserve. And I'll never forget with my son William, he tested for a tag at his school, and they didn't put him into it because, in my opinion, they didn't like him. That particular person that was testing him, she didn't, tag here in the state of Texas, here in the district where my son is, the talented, for those who don't know what tag is talented and gifted. Those teachers are gatekeepers.
We would say AP classes in other states.
So we have AP here too, but like in the elementary level, they call it tag. Okay. So that's how they decide if you're going to get into AP. And they're gatekeepers in many cases. Like, they keep certain kids in and keep certain kids out. So then my son went and tested for a tag school, which is more granulated. Like, okay, it doesn't matter who you are. You show up, you test. If you get in, you get in. And he got in. Yeah. So why is it that he can get into the school, but he can't get into a specific program at his school? And my friends explained to me, well, that's because they're gatekeepers, right? Yeah. And it goes back to him being a type of kid that, in their opinion, who acts out because he talks a lot, and he's very like me.
I was talkative. Yeah. Listen, I've been on this road. I tested high, 8th grade. I came from a Christian private school, and immediately this counselor was like, "No, she needs to be in these AP classes, period, from here on out. She does not need to be in these 30, 40 people deep classes." Because I would be talking to her stuff. And Mr. Bean, I remember him from Fayetteville, he looked up, he said, "This girl's not even supposed to be in my class. She's supposed to be in all AP." And he went and said something to somebody, and then it made it go into motion. Not that my parents said anything. Not that I said, "Hey, I signed up for these classes." It was that a white male teacher was like, "I just looked over my records, and she's got this letter beside her name. She's not even supposed to be in these regular classes. She's supposed to be in all AP." And so what happens is people say, "Well, Ericka, why y'all worried about that? It's high school, it's middle school." Because it's a trajectory.
Speak on it.
It's trajectory. Like, we literally talk about, there were 2 valedictorians at our school. And one was let's just go there. He was a poor white guy, poor white family. And every one of the kids were just, gifted, smarter than smart. And then there was a wealthier white guy. And this family did everything in their power to make sure the poor white guy couldn't get that spot. I said, imagine he doing that to another white man. What would he do to you?
You wouldn't even be in the room.
Literally. And this boy, and why I talk about trajectory is, if you had the valedictorian spot, you were guaranteed a free ride to any college,
any school.
The poor boy needed it. He needed it.
It's top 10% here. If you get top 10%, and then if you get valedictorian, I believe you get valedictorian, salutatorian here, you get to go to any
North
school.
Carolina got so many. So North Carolina's got 1/3 private school, 1/3 homeschool, 1/3. So like they can only do. They try to do just valedictorian, right?
That makes sense.
The salutatorian gets like a lot of good grants and everything, but
yeah, valedictorian definitely gets free rides.
It gets a free ride, and so this poor redheaded boy from like literally he's a redhead. His whole family is like gifted. He needed that. He needed that valedictorian. It was teachers literally fighting for him to get it. And so when people say money doesn't matter, school doesn't matter, oh, this is stuff that doesn't matter because it's high school, it mattered to that family. So just like it mattered to this white family, I know there's tons of black kids out there that are gifted. They do studies on it, show that they get overlooked, overpushed, passed. It matters. And so when you say, okay, professionalism and code switching, you're talking to a lot of people out here that are talented, gifted, smart, and they're having to dumb themselves down in conversation just to go about their day. It's insulting.
Damn.
There's a book this guy wrote called The Curse of the High IQ. When you can see people are treating you a certain way and you know it, it's the worst. It's worse than just, oh, I didn't realize that. Huh, somebody did that. Okay. But when you can see it and people are treating you a certain way.
I think the thing about that, Ericka, is seeing it, knowing it, and not having other people who look like you speak up.
Right.
Like I always find myself ringing the bell. Like, hey, don't y'all see this shit? Like, it's not just me, is it? And I don't know if it's a fear thing. I don't know what it is, but it seems like it takes people years to catch up with what the fuck I've been saying. And then by the time they catch up, it's just like, I done lost interest. Like I done completely moved on. Yeah. Or it leaves a bad taste in my mouth because it's like when I really needed y'all to stand up and say some shit. And that's not just with my people. That's even, you know, when I was at the KW office, you know, anyone who sees some type of disenfranchisement who can do something about it.
Speak up.
Whether it's, you know, using your voice or using your power. And it's getting to the point to where like I've been saying here lately, and this is going to sound bad, but the whole purpose of us having these conversations is so that we can get this shit out there. Like, the older I get, the more I understand, you know, that relative who stopped coming around. You know what I'm saying? The older I get, the more I understand why people move out of where they from and never come back.
I done poured into you enough.
Right. Like, because it'll never be enough. And I think somebody called it the black tax, you know, where if you have
they'll drain you to death.
They'll drain you to death. Or if you have a bit of a lick of sense or you have some type of success, it's your obligation to come back and save everyone. And my thing is, I was that dude for years, like trying to save people. And now I'm like, fuck it. Like, I'm not trying to save anybody. Here's the information. Here are the resources. If you want that shit, come get it. I got some courses for you. I got some people I can refer you to. But it's on you at this point because shit, it ain't like that whole mentality like our parents, you know, generations. I got mine, so go get yours. It's really more so like, no, you apply your time, effort, and energy towards all this bullshit. So don't expect for me to come and save you when you can take that same energy and apply it towards some real shit.
They go find every big booty Betty on the internet and know her address, her name, her phone number, and her Cash App. They got the listen. There's something I'll never forget, and I always bring up. My family gets mad to this day. They didn't come to so they came to my graduation and did like in the parking lot where your parents come see you afterwards. Like, yeah, they went home. And I said, I stood out there for 40 minutes for y'all. Well, we always knew you was going to graduate. You real smart. But it's the point that every child in this family has had people stand up and come see them after they're, you know, in the parking lot, give you little flowers, give you stuff and go home, drive you home. Well, you real smart. What was the way we need to do that? You already knew you was going to graduate. So you incentivize kids that are not doing what they need to do, and you decentivize and pretty much ignore kids that are.
In our culture, the dumber you are, the bigger you become. I fucking hate it.
To this day, my family like, why you always got to bring up the past? I said, it's important because
that you don't repeat it.
I sat outside for 40 minutes like, where the hell my family at?
You like the Shirley Caesar song, like for the 9 months I carried you.
Even now, I had an aunt, and I remember her saying, man, I wish you used some of them smarts to get money. I said, do you know how much money I make? And I sat down and I told her. She was like, well, yeah, you should have already been a millionaire.
So you damn if you do, damn you don't.
There you go.
And that's something that we got to get out of. And I believe that it's going to, I think the exposure is what's going to take us to the next level. And that's why we're having these conversations. Two things I want to talk about before we wrap it up. First things first, let's talk exposure. You know, I have Real Youth Mentoring, and you've been a avid supporter of Real Youth Mentoring since I've known you. And I talk about the importance of our boys traveling. You know, we took the boys to Memphis, Atlanta, and Birmingham right prior to the shutdown. And our goal is to take them to D.C. next year as our first trip outside of the whole everything opening back up. But what I noticed on that trip, Ericka, was that out of the 15 boys that we took, 10 of them, until this day, they're still on the honor roll because they got out of Dallas. They got to see something that they had never seen before, and they got to understand that there's possibilities outside of what they know. But just the look on some of their faces, like when we got our high-rise hotels and they had city views, like it was just like, Mr. Tim, I never even knew this was possible. Like, talk about that, because you're a traveler. Like, you understand the value of going different places. Like, you were a military brat, so you've lived everywhere. But why is it so important for Black people specifically? Our men, to get out of their environment.
Man, now I'm not on no passport bros thing where like you got to get over there and see them women's over there. I'm not.
So you ain't tell people to go to Colombia?
I go get them women's. Like, nah, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying go to a different city and see how people interact with you, how you carry yourself. You take you everywhere you go. So even if you're in a new city, you take you everywhere you go. And I've been to several like different cities and just see how Black people interact with me. See how white people interact with me. Like, I literally was somewhere and this white man was like, "Oh, excuse me, ma'am. Yes, go ahead. You seem very important. Go ahead." What? Just out his mouth, coming out the door. Like, let me hold the door for you. Something real important. I was like, "Oh no, I'm just walking through the door. You open it, okay, right?" And I think what happens is, even this weekend at InvestFest, there were several men dressed in suits. And I remember I was standing in line. This guy like, "Oh man, you dressed up." He's like, "Nah, man, like this is what I was gonna wear today."
Yeah.
Like, this is just a regular outfit. This is just what I wore. Like, you came in socks and slides and shorts. I just put this on because
that's how I dress.
That's how I dress.
That's who I am.
That's who I am. Bunch of brothers had the nice little penny loafers.
Yeah.
And the pants and the jacket.
Bring brothers be fly.
Looking good. Beijing'd out. Ready to go.
One thing I can say about places like Atlanta, even Charlotte to a certain extent, is that you get to see Black success. Like, it's
just regular every day.
It's so
I just
normal.
dress like this today.
This is how I dress. I remember the first time I went to Atlanta, and Atlanta gets a bad rep for whatever reasons, but I'll never forget going there, and I had never seen like everything was Black. And I'm talking about, I was downtown, and I'm just seeing so many professional Black men and women. Like, you cut on the news, the police chief, the fire chief, every person that's in front of the microphone. I'd never seen it in my life.
There's levels to it.
There's levels to it. And coming from Dallas, like people don't understand, like, Dallas is not a Black city by any stretch of the imagination.
Shocks me every time I get here. I be like, it's a lot of Hispanic people here.
Dallas is not a Black city. Dallas is not a Black city by any stretch of the imagination. Like, all the Black people are south of I-30 and they don't leave their areas. Like, and I'll say it. And you have a few people peppered out in Collin County and Rockwall County, but Dallas just ain't a Black city. So, I know what it's like to be a Black man walking in somewhere and getting certain looks or being the only Black person versus when you go to a place like Atlanta or even Birmingham or, Charlotte. It's just like, everybody's doing it here, and it's good to see. And I think that it's important for young men and even young women to see these different examples versus what people put on social media and what people put on the news. Because even William watching TV, he's like, "Dad, I mean, why are we so misrepresented? Why is it that every Black man has to look like this or be this way in order to get on TV? And if a freaking 12-year-old can see it, damn."
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, and not to go there, but like they see it from fresh eyes of like, that's crazy. Well, and that's why I think travel is important, because fresh eyes. Like, I can't fathom someone. I met a woman said at Buc-ee, she was like, "Man, I ain't never left Texas." I looked at her like, "You ain't Houston. You can spend $100 and go to Mexico on a flight."
And that's real. And even with like the representation, like, I always tell people, I don't give a shit what you do, but if the only image that you have of Black men is the exact same things, like, at some point you gotta understand that that's the representation of everyone, and that's not fair, because that's not the case with other races. Right. And so, like I said,
but you have money to put your show on. You got money to put your what you want to see on TV. You're not gonna talk bad about Jewish people. You're not gonna talk bad about Asian people. They had enough of it in the 80s, and I didn't think about it till the movie just came out, Everywhere, Everything or something.
Yeah,
all at once. And the guy playing was in the Indiana Jones movies, the Asian kid. And he said, you know, when he was growing up, his parents were like, "This is insulting. We're not gonna let you act in no more movies, making that you know." And I was just like, I thought about it. I said, he's right. He said I would not act no more. His parents would not let him act in any more movies because they felt like they were doing the Asian stereotypes. And now that he was able to come back in a role that was so diverse, he was strong in one point in the movie. He was weak. He was compassionate. He was with his wife. He was a full person.
Show all sides of it, right?
All sides.
Yeah, them old movies be stereotypical as hell.
And you laugh, but you look back and like, oh, dang, that was crazy.
We were watching something this weekend, and it was just like, I said to myself,
Clint Eastwood, all of it.
Damn, this is so stereotypical. But if you look at the evolution of film, everyone's evolved, but black characters.
Same black character.
You either
black best friend.
You either the hood dude, you either the loud
Football.
chick, you the dumb jock, or you're gay. Right? And listen, those people exist within the black community. Let's not get it twisted. But that is not the complete complex. That's not the full representation of the black community. And you know it's bad when gay people are saying, "Damn, like this is a little bit too much." Like even on my, I used to always say, "Man, if I speak on this shit, I'm gonna get canceled," which I can't get canceled. But when you get,
we need to do a show on that by itself.
We need to do a show on that by itself. But I posted the video of the ladies doing the praise dance for Brittany Griner, and I had so many people. I had so many people in my. Comments like, what in the world is going on there? And these were like lesbian chicks, like, what are they doing? Like, even, the LGBTQ community within the black people are like, yo, y'all doing too much. Man.
I mean, that video was terrible.
Man, so, I think I'm gonna loop it. I'm gonna loop it while
clip,
on
like
this
a little
part,
clip,
right?
right?
Yeah.
So
look at this.
Talking about exposure, talking about travel, that's why kids need to travel and exposure. Like the fact that I'm a military kid, lived in Alaska, we lived in Germany for briefly. My brother got Germany and Japan. My grandparents married in Japan. My dad was born in Japan. We carnival cruised every year since 12 years old to like 24.
Oh, y'all was doing the carnival cruise before the Groupons.
30 family members deep, like every year with the churches and everything. And so I can't fathom a situation where a parent says they love their child and they never make some type of arrangement to take that child somewhere to show them the world.
You gotta see the world,
and prepare them,
man.
Like, hey, it ain't always like this in this town. You could go to this town and see how it is, or you can go to that. Because if you think you in a, let me think.
I feel like you beat me to all the punches.
I'm just telling you, you could be somewhere real poor, and be like, man, it's rough here. Then you go somewhere else. I'm just gonna go there, Detroit, and I'm like, y'all see that? They be like, what's wrong with it? I'll be like, you don't see this. Or you go to
not talk about them. Them Detroit people sensitive about Detroit. Detroit folks get sensitive about
listen, you go to, I can pick multiple places. You go to Las Vegas, but you go outside the strip. You like, hey,
man, outside that strip is different.
What's going on with this? This is poverty over here. This shouldn't happen here.
It's a different level of poverty.
And people are like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, they can go to work, they can do whatever. I'm like, no. This is. Like there was trailers.
L.A. Downtown L.A. Like I took me and my family went to downtown L.A. 2 years ago, right before those George Floyd riots. And I go to California all the time, so I'm taking them on a tour. And literally downtown L.A. Skid Row. Like as we're driving, this is me, my wife, my 8-year-old kid. There's a naked lady just walking down the street in downtown L.A. Like a naked homeless lady, right?
Like the cops ain't even got time.
They don't even have time for
cover her up.
It's crazy, right? And so it's just like we see things on television, and it's like even in Dallas, like
it's not enough.
It's not enough.
You got to take your kid out to the play. This is the thing too. What I love about being a military kid, I was at a school and I was being bullied, horribly bullied. Right? I'm just in class, showing up. They knocking my books down. They knocking me over. They pushing me down. And my parents are like, "Well, just fight back." I'm like, I'm just trying to walk about my day.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to go about my day and be a regular person. And they moved me to a new school, whole new life. Varsity tennis at 10th grade, doing everything, high level, enjoying it. Great. I end up being like a class clown or something one year.
Yeah.
In this yearbook. Just like living a regular life. All from one change. So when people tell me they haven't traveled to a new city, they haven't gone somewhere and did something new, I'm like, babe, you could be somebody else, but you don't know it.
Which gets me to my next point. Leave your city. Like, leave your town. I always tell people, out of town people are winning. Like, people that come here to Dallas, if you look at all the people that are winning in Dallas, they ain't from Dallas.
Yeah, you ever hear black people though? They be like, man, my cousin moved to Dallas and he bought a house. No, your cousin came here, got a job, worked, realized, oh, that's not that expensive.
It's not.
I can buy a home.
Yeah.
And now you in the Chicago like, well, I'm gonna come down to Dallas. That's not how that happens. You actually have to come here with the mentality, I'm going to work and provide and do something.
Yeah, people come down here. The ones that come down here and take advantage, they take it. They win.
They winning.
But there's people that come here
Atlanta.
and leave. Oh yeah.
Right now, it's a running joke. Who are the business owners in Atlanta? New Yorkers.
That's real. That's real.
Most of the black people I run into, they either immigrant or New Yorker.
Yeah. A lot of people from DC.
Yeah.
And like Baltimore.
But this is the part that's why I said it. That's why I say this. The people that are on mission, they get there like, hey, need to start over. New me, new town. Let's do it. They good. People that are like, oh, I'm just going to leave DC because it's too expensive. I'm going to go somewhere else. They get to Atlanta and they get lost
poverty,
up.
They get caught up in the streets. They get caught up in the strip clubs. They get caught up in the image of success versus the reality of success. And then they just do the same shit, skate.
Different city.
And it's in a different city. And it's a mentality.
You ever seen Houston? When you meet people from New Orleans, you like, how you leave New Orleans and you over here in Houston in the worst part of town in bad houses and shotgun houses? You could be anywhere in Houston. Yeah. Well, Ericka, they came here because of Katrina and you got to be respectful. I'm like,
all the people that I know,
cool.
and I don't go to Houston. I just started going to Houston, being a Dallas guy. But all the people that I know personally from New Orleans, I don't know.
They doing well.
Man, the ones I know from New Orleans.
Mindset.
Man, when I tell you every hustler I know that came from New Orleans, like, everybody I know from New Orleans is out here killing it because the mindset was we came from nothing. We were dirt poor. Like one of my best friends is from New Orleans. A good friend of mine, she was an attorney for the city. Now she does some other stuff. She's from New Orleans. Like everybody I know that came to Dallas, they doing it. Now I don't know. I can't speak for H-Town.
I'm just saying parts of Houston where they have 20% of their population is poverty. And this guy was pointing out that they had this poverty and he basically threw off. He said, well, most of these are New Orleans folks.
Man.
And I said, God, whoa, that was tough. But think about it. You're coming from a place that's extremely poor. Now you're less poor, but you're somewhere different. People. That's why I say you got to move to a new city with a mindset. The mindset comes with the new city.
No, that's right. You're right. You're right. I never thought about that from a mindset standpoint.
It's like an old stripper moving to Atlanta. You in Atlanta now, baby, but
them strippers out there a little bit more. They got a little bit more going for themselves.
You got to do something now. You got to do something for yourself. Or the running joke that them girls becoming real estate agents after a while. They're like, can't be a bottle service girl no more. I got to go be a real estate agent.
Sell some houses. And man, I saw a meme that was like, real estate is the new stripping. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, they right. Because like a lot of agents get online. And you look at some of the agents that's like
half naked,
that's got the best followings. They ain't selling no fucking houses, but they be on there with, you know what I'm saying, be looking good, got their chest out and shit. And it's just like you couldn't sell a bottle of water to a fish, man. Like what are you doing? Yeah, but if you say that out loud, then you hating or you don't like women.
Anytime I meet a man, he's like, I want to be a realtor. I'll be like, okay, why? It's usually a good looking black man, so I already know what's up. I'm like, brother, I get it. You want to go where it's easy. Like, it's always been easy for you. You want to be seen. I feel you.
And I ain't knocking to get how you live.
Politicians too. I was at CPAC. It was a white dude in there, 6'6", Bo Hines. He from North Carolina. He played for Duke football.
Yeah.
They done propped this boy up to do politics. I said, this boy is 25. What does he know? Not a thing. But he's fine. And he tall. And that's all that matters. You
finna divest?
No. Listen, the divestment wigs were strong there. I was like, y'all, come on. Tyree gonna get us. I couldn't even look people in the eye. I was like, what's going on in your head? But that's the crazy part too. It's like the black people there. It was like 300 black people there.
Yeah.
Maybe like close to 200. And when we see each other, it was like and then I would be like, hey, how you doing? I'd have to speak to people like, hey, how you doing? Oh, all right.
And that's it's funny because I joke about that. I say, one thing about being the only black person somewhere is that it's double lonely because you're the only black person. Then when other black people show up, they don't never fuck with you like that. Like when I worked in corporate, and I was always in management. Other black folks did not fuck with me like that because they saw me as, getting them. If I was there, I was pushing them further away from massa.
Well, I think also it's a class thing too. They're assuming they're an upper class person, then another black person comes there like, oh,
who is this nigga?
What do you do?
Yeah, who is this nigga?
I said, oh, I'm in real estate. I build houses. Yeah. I just started being like, I build houses.
Yeah.
I didn't tell nobody I was YouTube. I was like,
well, a lot of people have self-hate. A lot of people, they don't. And one thing I like about you is, you're pretty diverse. Like, you've been around the world. One thing I'm learning is that the black experience is very vast.
Yeah.
We have this mentality that the black experience is one thing, and that, as some people on YouTube say, we just one big nigga. But the fact of the matter is that the black experience is different for a lot of different people. And it's going to be even different for the next generation because you have a lot of black kids that are being raised in suburbs, that are being raised without the struggle, if you will. And so what happens is, what I noticed when I got into those settings as a manager or someone with a little bit of influence, other black people didn't really want to fool with me because they felt like I was taking away from their opportunity. And it's like, man.
You don't see a difference in the next generation, though.
I hope so.
Like, I was in a friend group at a church, and there's only the three black of us, 3 black people. Yeah. And the 2 of them got married, right? And I'm over there, third person. And they be like, oh, do you have black friends? They're like, yeah, Ericka. And then we be like, that's my black friends. Because all we knew were other white and Asian people.
Yeah.
Like, our friend group is diverse of cultures.
Yeah.
But not a lot of brown folks, right? And so I think what happens is, the black experience is so diverse, and people can't. Even this weekend, when I saw it was a lot of black men in hoodies.
And the funny thing, let me talk about that, because you went from CPAC, which is by far the whitest meeting that you could ever possibly go to in life, to Earn Your Leisure, which was like the blackest meeting. Like, that is a very diverse palette.
Video. I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm like,
dude, like, seriously.
Well, you know what happened? I went to a mastermind that was black in Atlanta. And then I went to this mastermind that was owned by 2 white boys in 2019. And I'm on a boat. I'm the only black woman on the boat.
Yeah.
One of the black guys was there. He like, hey, we was like in the photo together, but way apart from each other.
Anything happened, we here
we
together.
On this boat. We know.
Let's take some pictures.
Okay. If we go missing. Well, actually, that ended up being a really great friend, Kamar Johnson.
Yeah.
Proud of that brother. He's out of Virginia.
Yeah, the gentleman who owns the tires. Yeah.
So we both were like, before we got to know each other more.
Dude.
Great dude.
Yeah.
And so people in the comments were like, how can you go from this mastermind to all these white guys? Like, how can you hang around these people? I'm like, these are just people. These are just people. We want to be seen as just people.
And I was just about to say that.
Them as just people.
Typically, people are the same people who say that are the same people who get mad when they don't feel like they're being accepted. And it's like, you gotta, I've been around a lot of black empowerment people. I go to a lot of seminars. I speak at things, right? And one thing I notice whenever I go to those places is that the camera crew and the people doing all the logistics be white folks. And that's not to knock it, right? Because that's who's in those fields. And we're going to talk about trades really quick.
Yep.
But
we got all kind of gems coming from this segment. Gems coming out of this.
Yeah, like, you got to understand that just because you love yourself and love your people doesn't mean that you can't do business or get into different circles, because the game that you want to learn typically is not going to be amongst your people, because we've been disenfranchised, or we've been closed out from the information, or we just don't have the access. You got to get into the other rooms.
Tyler Perry spoke on this. Don People spoke on this. Don People said he's been Look at Don People. He is New Orleans black is what we used to call it.
Yeah.
Virginia black, real light skin, right? An actual light skin person. And he was saying he would go to banking, and it'd be a black guy in there, and the black guy was scared to put his stamp on his project. He said, brother, how you get this far up in banking
and you not fucking with me?
He's like, these people need to be removed. And Don People was real militant up there. And I saw the comments in the Twitter. We got white wife. I'm like, but listen what he's saying. You missed the message because of the messenger.
You know what? And let's talk about that. He
literally said he goes places. He's been doing millions of dollars in business for 40 years. And another black person will see him and scared to put their stamp on him, even though this man has been approved for years.
It's a crazy mentality. And
at that level, it's crazy.
It's like oftentimes we find reasons to counsel each other out. Like we'll say some shit like, well, this ain't an opportunity. Okay, well, here's the opportunity right here. Well, this is the problem. Well, okay, here's the solution. Well, you can find the solution to so many problems. And even when you get to that last solution, they'll find another fucking problem. And it's just like, at some point in the game, we're going to have to get up off our ass and say, okay, let me bowl in this lane and see what it is. And if it don't work, I'm just going to go back to being broke, right?
Well, I call it the Gmail thing. So there's been this black thing where like black people stop having Gmail.
What's that?
To do business.
Oh,
all right. Oh, so
I done shit on that before.
The other week, I was in Dallas, outskirts of Dallas, Granbury, and I see this skier. This guy's doing a skid steer, clearing the land. I'm saying it terribly, but he's clearing this land. Hispanic guy. And I say, okay, I just saw y'all clear 2 lots. I just drove around here twice earlier, like in 2 hours. He's like, oh yeah, we move fast, we work hard. I said, well, can I get your boss's number? Or are you the boss, right? Don't be disrespectful. He may be the boss. He said, oh, no. I'll give you my boss's card. I get the card to him.
It's Gmail.
White man.
Yeah.
Gmail. He said, girl, I'm booked for the next 3 months. But I'm going to fit you in because you're on the same street as my new construction. And I want us to be going at the same time.
We have this false reality of what professionalism is. And then we apply that to people and judge them based off of this idea versus their merits.
Yeah.
And we got to get out that shit.
This man doing money.
Man, I done had
thousands a day.
I done had so many people that look the part and they ain't about shit.
They got a perfect email, perfect website. But let me tell you something. There's this girl I fell out of friendship with. You know why? Because she said, man, you just throw it out there. You just post anything. You just throw whenever you want. You don't have a structure.
Yeah.
And she said, I got this thumbnails. I got the structure. Like she doing everything by the book. The ain't fair people. That ain't fair. What's not fair about it? Right? If you following that and you feel truly that's how you want to do business, that's your level of professionalism. Let me see what the merits are. I remember someone about cuss me out in email like, you got misspelled words in this email. You got us. I said, in this email also produced $6,000 in sales.
Eric, you know how I fuck with you, man? You want me to tell you when I started really fucking with you? I bought one of your books and there was typos in the book. And then you talked about it on one of your lessons, like on one of your YouTubes. You was like, I don't give a shit. I put it out there. I can always go back and edit it.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
that book sold, I think last time I checked, like 8,000 copies.
And here's my thing, like anybody who points that out is hating. Like, who gives a fuck if it's a typo in it?
If it was the first came out, the book just came out yesterday. You say, Ericka, hey, there's some typos. Cool, that's helpful. It's been 4 years. I don't care.
You don't. You
like,
don't
did you
care,
get it?
man.
Did you get it?
I'll never forget when I wrote my first book. There was a typo in there. I almost lost my mind, and I was like, damn, like we be tripping on the littlest shit.
Somebody gonna think I'm dumb. I'm like, really? I literally am proving that I'm super tested, super smart, super all this stuff. But you worried about okay.
You worried about a fucking typo. And as my mom said, you ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Let's transition and we're gonna end on this note.
Sure.
We do the
wait. Before we transition.
Let's do it.
Tyler Perry. I meant to tell you. When you said about the white people working on the cameramans we had black cameramen, but we had some white ones.
Yeah.
And Tyler Perry was up there, and there was a black man in the IRS wanted to audit him. He drove past his studio every day. He said, "It's got to be something about that. It's just not right." Something a black man mad at him. He's a high-ranking, wealthy black man in Atlanta. He got him audited, right? Because he works for the IRS. They audit him. Guess what? They find $9 million that they owe him. Because Tyler Perry was like, I'm going to get him. I know who the brother is. I'm going to do this. And they're like, no, chill. Let it work. Let it work through the audit. Because they black people as accountants. Let's work through it. They owe him $9 million. And they're like, see, isn't that so great? We didn't retaliate. They owe us $9 million. He said, no, it's terrible. How did y'all let me lose $9 million? So he brought in white people to help them. They were so offended. He said, we lost $9 million.
That's a lot of money. Even if you're Tyler Perry, that's a lot of money.
Clearly, there's something you don't know. And I'm going to bring these people in that do know it and to help you. Because I don't want to lose you. I'm not firing you. I'm saying, where can we help shore up this thing? And he says, our people get stuck on, it's got to be black people. I'm only going to do business with black people. if the white person has the knowledge, go get the knowledge and come bring it back to us.
Say, man, go get that shit. Listen, man, money is green.
$9 million?
You know what,
and
man?
You mad? Man.
I think where it goes wrong is when we use our people and then we get on this tangent of black people ain't shit when they fuck us over.
Right.
Because everyone's going to fuck you over.
It
right?
happens.
I'll never forget. I learned that because I had a Hispanic contractor. I ain't gonna say Hispanic. I have a Mexican contractor because Mexicans down here don't like to be called Hispanic. I learned that.
They don't like that.
In Texas, Mexicans don't call themselves brown either. I've never heard a Mexican person refer to themselves as brown.
Well, the ones in Austin that don't speak Spanish that well, they be like, I'm a Texan.
Yeah, they don't do that black and brown shit.
I'm a Texan.
Like at all. But anyway, my contractor who I've known for well over a decade, we were having a conversation one time and I was like, man, I got to ask you a real question. Just be straightforward with me. I said, do you have issues out of your own people? Like when it comes to work? And he said something to me that I never forget. He says, Tim, the only time I get fucked over out of my money is by other Mexicans.
Yes.
He said, and I've worked around a lot of people, and what I've come to the realization is that your own kind will always fuck you. He says, so I see you, he follows me on social media. He says, I see you always, holding black people accountable, but the fact of the matter is people just fuck who's close to them.
There you go.
And I was like, man, that's crazy. Like, I never thought of it like that, but he was so right. And then, even like when I worked in corporate around a lot of white folks, like white people, they used to fuck
Ruthless.
each other. Man.
Ruthless.
They would see, hey, John, how you doing? As soon as John walk about it, man, fuck John, man. I'm going to take his job. Like, I was just like, damn. So,
very competitive.
So
it's the proximity.
It's the proximity.
Black people are the only people that like, we really live like concentrated with each other. White people spread out. Hispanic people, Asians spread out.
They spread out.
Austin is unique because people thought, why are these Asian people buying a house in this one neighborhood? Like they were worried about it. I was like, see, they can't even live in a close proximity with people being like, what's going on over there?
Yeah, that's how it is here in Dallas.
So you have this group that is super concentrated living beside each other.
Yeah.
And super concentrated in poverty. And they want to drive nice cars in the hoods.
But then when you say, man, let's tighten up, it's, oh, nigga, you hating.
You a hater.
You think you better. It's, it's either sugar or shit. There's no in between, right?
I saw Coach Malik this weekend, Coach Carter. And I said, I respect you for your stance. He drives a minivan.
Yeah.
He got kids, y'all. He got a lot of kids. And he's flipping houses and building new construction in North Carolina, flipping houses in Philadelphia. And people like, man, you ain't got no money. Look at that van you driving. This man working on 10, 12 projects at a time, taking his whole family on vacations.
We gotta change how we see wealth.
Why would he drive a brand new car in Philly to a construction site? To get what, robbed?
It's a catch-22. You don't want to know why? Because honestly, when you pull up in something new, niggas gonna think you have money, so they gonna tax you. Anybody's gonna think you have money. Like if I pull up to an all-white establishment, I'll never forget when I first started driving like Lexus and shit like that. Like I would pull up places and they're like, is that your car? Like I felt like I was being overbidded on shit or being overcharged on shit. Like that's just human nature to assume if you got it, right? And I think that we as black people, we don't understand that that's human nature. So like me, man, when I go places now, I'm in the Civic. I'm in the Civic with the dent on the side. What you need? Listen, man, I don't give a fuck about that kind of shit.
Listen, my significant other drives an older vehicle and he about to drive it to this new location. And at first I was like, well, just get another car, sell that car. He's like, no. When I go to construction site, I don't want them trying to overbid me because they see me in a new car with new plates. I said, you know what?
It's a psychology.
Smart.
Yeah.
Bring that old car, bring it on down. We're going to drive it around town.
All right, so let's talk really quick. We're going to end here. Let's talk about the importance of trades. We do the trade events every single month for the kids. We call them, a million ways, or a way to make $1 million. And we bring in different people in different trades. Like, why do you feel like it's so important for black people to learn some sort of a trade versus putting all their eggs into a corporate basket? Specifically, our men.
The best way to say this is that corporate America is over. It's over.
Speak on that.
We don't have our society, even the way we're built right now, like the luxurious corporate America that your grandpa and your uncles dreamed of while they was outside working hard, blue
30
collar.
years and retire, get the gold watch.
Yeah, that's over.
That shit is dead.
That's just dead.
It's dying.
And also, you got to go to work and people got to like you for you to get there.
Say that one more time. Please explain what that means.
And I've been telling y'all, listen, I like me. Your like is extra. You dig what like your like is extra. So to go to work every day where people have to like you for you to eat is insane to me. So
people ain't never liked me at jobs because I was always the person that called the bullshit.
Like, hey, what y'all doing?
I've always gotten fired from corporate jobs. They would bring me in as the person to change shit, and then when I would get there and really try to hold people accountable, I would always find my way out the door.
Yeah, listen. The best way to say this is like our country where we are in America for the next 50 years, we will be retrofitting. Detroit will be retrofitting its city for the next 50 years. Every city in America has bridges, waters, lakes.
When you say retrofitting, what do you mean?
Retrofitting is fitting older cities to new technologies. What caused the snowpocalypse in Texas? Now people get argue about this, but literally I sat there for the energy secretary was like, it's because where the connections for natural gas and all the stuff was happening, it was too old.
It's too old.
So when it happened, it was like boom.
It's kind of like when you have cast iron. When you have a cast iron plumbing system, like it's gonna erode in 50 years.
At some point.
Yeah.
So for the next 50 years in this country, men who can fix things are going to be rich. Farmers are going to be rich. It's because we've whittled down those fields so few people are left doing it. Truly doing it, right? Because we can all, like, if I say, hey man, what you think about contractors? We're gonna hear 100,000 horror stories, white, black, Asian, whoever. They're gonna give us a horror story of a contractor.
It's always a horror story that gets
But and so as people, we want to be liked. We don't want to be seen as a bad guy. We don't want to come to have to charge you some plumbing and you cussing me out because you had to fix your plumbing, and they want to be liked. And what they learned from their uncles, and I'm not crapping on our uncles in the 80s, they just didn't know what they was doing. Oh, blue collar work is hard.
Yeah.
It's bad on your body. My uncle all broke up. Nah, your uncle was out there drinking beer, then going to work. He ain't never stretched a day in his life. He ain't never wear a back brace. He throwing stuff over his shoulder. They did it improperly.
Yeah.
That's not the truth. Like, there's a lot of
people that worked in the coal fields and shit like that. You just got exposed.
They didn't know what they was doing.
Yeah.
And so now we can see
technology has changed.
There you go.
Yeah.
You ain't got to climb in the holes in the ground no more. You literally have cameras you send down there.
Yeah.
You got people you can put. They got the thing, when you lift the shingles for the roof.
Yeah.
They got a little elevator thing now. It just goes shoop, and the guy at the top just picks it up.
I've seen that. And
so people out here like, oh, blue collar's bad on your body. I saw a dude do a tree stump thing, and he just walking with it, and it grinds the tree stump up, and he just walked it back to the car.
It's like pushing a lawnmower.
$2,000 for 30 minutes.
Yeah. It's like pushing a lawnmower, man. It's
stand up lawnmowers. You seen lawnmowers where you just stand up?
I haven't seen that.
You just stand on the back and pedal it and drive it. You ain't even doing that.
I have never even seen that. But
it's commercial. You just stand on it.
I don't cut my own yard. I start making.
I
a little
drive
money,
by and look at people.
And I'm just kidding with
I
you.
look at I be like, what you
I got
doing?
the worst allergies, man.
Oh, that's right.
I got the worst grass allergies. So
man, Tim is an alien. Tim is an alien.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's supposed to be out here near grass. He's supposed to be in Arizona with some dirt and rocks.
You know what's so funny? Because when I go to California, people always talk about how bad the air quality is there. I never have issues in California.
Like, oh, I can't breathe.
I come back home, man. My eyes be swole, my sinuses be tore up, man. It's something else. But
Houston air quality is horrible.
Man, we not gonna shit on Houston. That's a whole nother episode now. But check this out. We did a tech event where we had a guy come and he's made, he's getting tech jobs where he's making $100,000 plus $200,000 in some cases. Plus he's putting his money into the stock market. Like, it's important for our men specifically to start diversifying into getting in these fields that they don't know about, because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
And it's also important to document it. Like, you are one of the people that I know who documents literally everything.
It's a good time.
This is a good time to document it. So do you have any courses or something where can people find you, Ericka?
So they can find me on YouTube at Ericka Williams, Classy Climb. And I used to have a thing called Tech Tuesday. I'm doing 2 more videos of Tech Tuesday because I would see black people that were so chill and they'd be 33. I'm like, man, what you do? Man, I'm in tech. Well, brother ain't got no debt.
Yeah.
Just money stacked up.
I remember Tech Tuesdays.
Right. And so I keep those videos and people like, is it hard? Is it math? What's hard? Working a job you hate. Being. So again, my biggest focus for our people or anybody I try to talk to, just future thinking. some of y'all in your 40s and 50s, you can't do manual labor no more. If you ain't set up to own the company and send other people to do the labor, okay, well, what can you do? Okay, you need to be indoors. Okay, well, what can we do that's indoors? What can we do that's even options or remote?
Find it, right?
Tech, business ownership. You know, people, we getting grumpy about that. But blue collar trades, there's a level of, when I went to Apex, and this is something I got to tell y'all. It's in Dallas. It's a dude called Ryan Stewman. I went to the event. 80% of the men I ran into there, I'm thinking, oh man, you blue collar, you own an HVAC company, you own a plumbing company. Man, that's, how long you been a plumber? I ain't never been a plumber. Never. Oh, I just had a $20K credit card. I hired a girl to answer the phones. I hired a dude and wrapped a van and sent him out. The way we think about blue collar is outdated. The way we think about tech is outdated. We think everybody gonna be rude and not treat us nice at work. I mean, I remember black people saying, "What? How many black people at work? How does that matter?"
It don't. Are you there? That's all that matters. That you there.
Listen,
and you getting in the door for a reason. Like, stop. I just literally talked about that on another podcast. Like, and I don't want to sound like the disgruntled dude, but man, you got to leave them niggas behind. There's a difference, in my opinion, between black folks and niggas. And a lot of the discrepancies that we have in our community is that nigga speak, that nigga thing, that how niggas do shit. Like, that nigga shit is what keep us in the trenches, that keep us on our ass. And when you get around the average black person,
because they want to be liked. Tim, we talk about this all the time. They want to be. It's more important to be liked than to be respected.
Man, let me tell you something. Where the camera at? I don't give a damn about that nigga shit. That nigga shit has never worked. It never will work. We gotta start being respectable men and women, and being a respectable man or woman does not mean to be an ass kisser. It doesn't mean to feel like you need to fall in line. It's about getting your shit together so that people can't take what you have. Every other minority based community has shit going for themselves economically, and they don't give a fuck about that social shit.
They on the rooftop,
man.
You know what I'm saying? Rooftop Koreans, they make t-shirts now. It's a joke, but they not playing. You're not gonna come over here. You're not gonna take it. You're not gonna beat me up in my own store. You're not gonna do none of that. You're not. Protesting, again, I don't want to mess up the quote, but protesting is the voice of the powerless.
Say that shit again.
Protesting is the voice of the powerless. You don't own anything. You don't have any money, so you can't make anybody respect you. So now you want to be liked. Tim, this is like a mental disease. Like, they want to be liked so
it feels
bad.
Good to finally get somebody who understands this shit. Don't ever call me for no damn protest. If we not, man, I protested and boycotted financially, literally everything over the last 5 years. I didn't watch football for a couple years. I didn't drink certain sodas. I didn't shop at certain places. And every time I looked up, I was the only person doing it. And I said to myself, you want to know why? Because we are such big consumers and we don't own shit that it doesn't even matter. Even when you go to a protest, every corporation is getting rich off of the cost that it takes to show up to that protest.
The Million Man March to this day. I say they put y'all on C-SPAN. That's fine. Y'all made all that money for the airlines. You made all the money for the hotels. You made all the money for the food places. What did it accomplish? I mean, I respect it. It's great. 1 million black men showed up to DC. That's great. Powerful. And Nation of Islam, you do what you do. But what would have happened if we took that money from that event and put it somewhere?
It benefited the nation a little bit more than it benefited black society as a whole, because one thing I can't say about the nation is that they are really big on self-sufficiency and self-dependency.
Listen, they got farms. They straight. They got farms, radio,
from
everything.
From a standpoint of who did it benefit, it definitely benefited the nation.
For sure.
But the average black person who doesn't subscribe to those concepts, they went back home and went back to the normal shit that they always do. Yeah. And it fell on a lot of deaf ears. But to the guys in the nation, they definitely do what they got to do. But
they were out in force in Atlanta.
They were out there in
19
force.
keys.
Right.
Headband City.
So no, I'm
saying, sell these headbands or whatever with the stars on it.
Yeah.
And I was just in the crowd like, what's up with these headbands? I'm so slow.
Was you clutching your purse?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Ericka, don't be that guy. But all jokes aside, like, I think that finally now people are understanding, because we're getting to a point now where you don't have no other choice but to understand. And it's not about being militant. It's not about being this person that's out there trying to kick up dust. It's just about getting your shit together. Self-sufficiency. Like at the end of the day, I ain't got no beef, no ill will towards nobody. I got to get it for me and mine. But I for those who want to get it like me, here's your avenue. Here's your lane.
Listen, I know we've been here talking a minute, but my biggest thing to people is if you could get over to being liked, because there's something in the culture of like, in order for me to survive, in order for me to make it, I got to be liked. If you can get over that and have you something that works, you'll be fine. That's the biggest thing I learned when I was at Apex is like all these guys, they want to be the likable boss. And he's like, why do y'all want to be liked so bad? So it's not just our community, but it's a nature thing. Like, I want people to think I'm the cool boss and all stuff. He's like, you got people you need to fire right now, but you want to be liked so bad, you got them running your company into the ground.
We can end it on that note.
Okay.
You guys, listen, I want to thank y'all so much for watching, tuning in. This has been a historic episore with my girl, Ericka.
What's up?
You know what, Ericka, I'm all about giving people their flowers. I appreciate you, man. You know, you've been fucking with your boy for a good 4 or 5 years, strong, as they say in South Carolina, right? But you know
The
what?
worst Carolina. But go ahead.
I forget you from North Carolina. But all jokes aside, man, it's important to know that you can pick up the phone and call somebody, get good advice, give good advice, but have someone that's going to genuinely support you. And I can say throughout my time on YouTube, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, social media, you are one of those people that have always rocked with me. So I appreciate that. Keep doing what you're doing. Where can they find you on every social media platform?
You can find me on Ericka's Classy Climb on YouTube. You can find me on Ericka's Classy Climb on Instagram. You can find me as Ericka Williams on Facebook. You guys, lots of great content, lots of great ads coming. People saw me in the Zapier commercials. Some people came and said, "Man, I saw you in a commercial."
I did too.
I love it.
I was grinning. I was cheesing.
So there's a lot of positive things happening, and it's all from digital marketing, digital real estate.
All right, y'all. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you soon.